Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has now given Hezbollah a warning. He says if the group goes to war with Israel, he would bring unimaginable devastation upon them. Meanwhile, Syria is blaming Israel for the airstrikes that targeted Syrian airports and killed 2 workers. Journalist Rebecca Collard has all the details on those airstrikes.
According to Syrian officials, Israel carried out strikes today on Syria, hitting both the airport in Damascus and also the airport in Aleppo. Now, those airports were at least temporarily forced to close. Flights were redirected to Latakia, a city on Syria's Mediterranean coast. Now, it is not uncommon for Israel to carry out strikes on Syria. They have done it numerous times over the last decade, and the Israeli military says those strikes target either weapons transfers from Iran to the Lebanese militant group here, Hezbollah, or military targets of either Iran or Hezbollah inside Syria. Now, despite the fact that they are not uncommon, I think in this current context, the war between Israel and Hamas rages, and there is this growing concern about a second front and a regional escalation. These strikes are more concerning. So we've been watching the southern border here in Lebanon, because the real concern is a second front could open between Israel and Hezbollah, who have already fought this deadly month-long war in 2006. But also in the last few days, we have seen a kind of regional escalation of militant groups which consider themselves the axis of resistance, so somehow allied with Iran, targeting U.S. sites. So drones targeted a U.S. site in Syria. Iraqi militia have fired on a U.S. base in Iraq and warned the U.S. military to leave. And also we had projectiles fired from Yemen. So I think in that context, this seems like quite an escalation today in Syria. And I think while we're watching the southern border here, there's also a lot of eyes on different countries in the region that could be another focal point for an escalation. Rebecca Collard for CBC News, Beirut.